There's a snag in the plans surrounding the underground walkway planned for Richland Avenue. Pharmaceutical executives are on Capitol Hill to defend their high drug prices. And in sports, the Ohio men's basketball team looks to keep up their momentum tonight at Kent State. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Hernandez, thanks for joining us. Athens residents and OU students will have to wait one more year for a new passageway on Richland Avenue. Mayor Steve Patterson said last night that the bid process for the project has been pushed back to 2020. The current bid opening failed to receive any suitable offers from contractors. In the past, contractors told city officials that the project could not be done in the 90 days the city estimated it would take. Mayor Patterson said he's still working with the Ohio Department of Transportation and Ohio University to make a successful bid, saying, quote, "We haven't been sitting on our hands." A criterium is a one-day cycling race set in a closed road course. And Athens used to have one race like that in the 80s. Now, one resident has plans to bring the race back. Daniel Brown introduced his plan to City Council last night. Brown's plan includes two separate road closures. A long section of East Union Street will be closed the first day for eliminatory bike sprints. And on the second day, parts of Court, West State, North Congress, and West Union Streets would be closed for the official race. According to the plan, the criterium would be held on June 21st and June 22nd. The federal judge overseeing hundreds of lawsuits filed against opioid manufacturers and distributors is changing his approach to the first set of trials. U.S. District Judge Dan Polster ruled yesterday that claims made by Cuyahoga and Summit counties will be heard first in October. A trial with West Virginia's Huntington and Cable counties will come after, followed by the cities of Cleveland and Akron. Nationally, the number of deaths related to prescription opioids continue to rise. According to the Center for Disease Control, more than 200,000 people died from prescription opioids from 1999 to 2017. That means opioid overdose deaths were 5 times higher than last year than in 1999. But the rate doctors are prescribing opioids decreased in the last decade. 2 Ohio hospitals are under scrutiny over Medicare participation after a now-fired doctor gave dozens of patients possibly fatal painkiller doses. As of now, the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services have concluded that there is no immediate risk to patients at Cleveland's Mount Carmel West and Westerville's Mount Carmel St. Anne's hospitals. But the centers have authorized a review of both facilities in order to ensure that their conditions are up to Medicare standards.
Hello, I am forecaster Adlai Karwish, and today it was pretty warm outside and also pretty sunny. Right now in Athens is 48, New Lexington's 41, New York's 39, Columbus is 41, Chillicothe's 46. Let's take a look right now at Athens, 48 degrees, humidity not too much at 29%, the pressure not too much either. Winds to the north at 0 to 5 miles per hour. And let's take a look at tonight's lows all around the area. 25 in Athens, 27 in Ripley, 25 in Jackson. So it's definitely going to get quite cold over the night, including 26 in Columbus. And I will send it back to Stephen over there, so it's going to be pretty cold.
Well, I'll try to stay bundled up. We'll try to stay bundled up. Thanks for the weather update, Adlai. A man who has served 26 years in prison for a 1993 murder in Nelsonville is set to be released on parole next year. 43-year-old Michael Eccles pleaded guilty in 1993 in the murder of Mia Russell, who he shot several times in Nelsonville during a domestic dispute. Eccles had previously been denied parole, but has now been granted a projected release date on or after February 1st, 2020. A grand jury will hear the cases of 5 former firefighters accused of intentionally setting fires. The Herald-Dispatch reports the former Barboursville, West Virginia firefighters waived preliminary hearings. They were charged in connection with suspicious fires in Barboursville and Lesage between April 2017 and February 2018. All 5 were terminated before the charges were filed. Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose is testifying today at the Ohio State House in support of a bill to enhance Ohio's election security. The legislation would give LaRose's office and the Ohio National Guard the power to enhance resilience and improve responsiveness to cyber attacks that could affect elections. It would also give LaRose a seat on the Ohio Homeland Security Advisory Council and let him hire a Chief Information Security Officer. Governor Mike DeWine's proposed gas tax increase could give Ohio County engineers close to $2 million per county if approved. The Athens Messenger reports that Athens County engineer Jeff Maiden supports DeWine's decision, saying that he is, quote, trying to do the right thing. If DeWine's gas tax is approved, it would bring the Athens County Engineering Department's budget to over $6 million annually. Coming up, President Trump is in Vietnam preparing to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Plus, and former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen is set to begin his testimony in front of Congress. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
Well, if you love TVC basketball action as much as we do, well then we got the show for you, Hardwood Heroes. Come along with us as we will be breaking down all the action every week. It airs Sundays at 11 p.m. and again Mondays at 6 p.m. But remember, our coverage isn't just limited to the show. We have content being posted all week long on our Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat. We will also have written recaps posted on our webpage and video recaps on our YouTube channel. So check those out as well. And always remember to be heroic.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
Top pharmaceutical executives were blasted on Capitol Hill today over skyrocketing prescription prices. Senators say the high cost of medicines is hurting Americans, and now lawmakers demand change. Omar Jimenez is in Washington with more on the congressional hearing.
You'll find most members of Congress are sick and tired of the blame game. It's time then for solutions.
7 pharmaceutical executives representing companies from Johnson & Johnson to Pfizer were in the hot seat with the Senate Finance Committee Tuesday over the prices of their drugs. Some questioned over why drugs they sold overseas were cheaper than in the U.S.
Do you make a profit on the drugs that you sell in Germany or in France?
Yes, we do.
How is that not gouging the American consumer with high prices, even though you're giving other people in Western industrialized countries a better deal?
If a market the size of the United States were to collapse to the lower end of that pricing model, then I can just tell you AbbVie would not be able to invest the level of R&D that it invests today.
Each of the companies represented has had to answer tough questions about the high cost of drugs, and each executive testified about wanting to reduce prices in some capacity.
I understand the anger.
The Sanofi CEO adding they didn't see a single cause for rising costs and that it was time to take a comprehensive look. In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez.
President Trump is in Vietnam for a second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Trump arrived in Hanoi, the nation's capital, shortly after the North Korean leader. Tomorrow, Trump is set to meet with Vietnamese officials before sitting down for dinner with Kim Jong-un. The two leaders met in Singapore last June. This summit is expected to build upon their agreement to work toward complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. Michael Cohen is set to begin 3 days of congressional testimony. All eyes are on what the former Trump lawyer, who has since turned against the president, may reveal. CNN's MJ Lee has a preview.
I'm done with the lying. I am done being loyal to President Trump.
That statement will be put to the test starting today. President Trump's former fixer and personal attorney Michael Cohen begins a whirlwind 3 days before Congress. Cohen starts behind closed doors with Senate intelligence and ends behind closed doors with House intelligence Thursday. He's expected to reveal what he knows about the president's dealings with Russia, including the Trump Tower meeting between campaign officials and a Russian attorney in June 2016, and a proposed Trump Tower in Moscow, the very project Cohen admitted lying to Congress about.
What other light can he shed now that he's cooperating on issues of obstruction of justice or collusion?
This week's headliner is Cohen's public hearing Wednesday in front of the House Oversight Committee, while President Trump meets with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Hanoi. The president's son calling Cohen's hearing a calculated distraction.
To try to, distract or whatever it is by bringing in a convicted felon and known liar. I mean, it's pretty pathetic, but it really shows you how much, the Democrats hate Trump.
House Democrats plan on pressing Cohen for answers that could be damaging for President Trump about Trump's finances, business practices, and the hush money payments to silence women alleging affairs with Donald Trump.
He directed me to make the payments. He directed me to become involved in these matters.
President Trump and the White House repeatedly slamming Cohen, saying he's not telling the truth.
Very simply, Michael Cohen is lying.
Cohen teased his testimony on Twitter last week. He wrote, quote, "Looking forward to the American people hearing my story in my voice." After the break, we'll hear how you can cut back on unhealthy foods. That story's still ahead.
And weather next on Newswatch. Weather looking pretty warm days with cold nights, and here's stats of local interest.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Well, if you love TVC basketball action as much as we do, well, then we got the show for you. Hardwood Heroes. Come along with us as we will be breaking down all the action every week. It airs Sundays at 11 p.m. and again Mondays at 6 p.m. But remember, our coverage isn't just limited to the show. We have content being posted all week long on our Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat. We will also have written recaps posted on our webpage and video recaps on our YouTube channel. So check those out as well. And always remember to be heroic.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
Hello, I am forecaster Adlai Karwish, and today, and a little preview of what we're going to talk about today. Warmer days with cold nights and rain and maybe even snow coming up on the weekend. Let's take a look here. Right now in Athens, it is 48 degrees, winds to the north at 0 to 5 miles per hour. There really is no humidity. There's a few clouds in the sky, but it was a pretty sunny day and it was quite warm. I could just go out with my sweatshirt and some pants. And let's take a look at right now temperatures all around the area. Ripley at 51, Jackson at 48, Columbus at 41. It's a little bit colder up towards the north side. Chillicothe is at 46, New Lexington is at 41. So all around in the 40s and a couple upper 30s up towards the north. Tonight, 25 degrees, cool and clear, winds to the northeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. So there's going to be a very decrease in temperature throughout the night, as it's going to go down to 25 degrees, so make sure you do bring a coat. Let's take a look at tonight lows all around the area. It's pretty consistent, actually, all around the area. You can see Columbus is at 26. Chillicothe is at 25. Most of these towns are at 25. You can see Ripley is at 27. So all around, it's going to be pretty cold. We're going to see tomorrow it's going to warm up pretty fast to over 30 degrees from tonight's low. 57 degrees, warm and cloudy. There will be a small chance of rain towards the afternoon and evening. Winds to the south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And it's going to be pretty, you're going to see the sun for most of the day, but there is a small chance of rain. It's going to be nice and warm at 57 degrees for at the late of February. That's got to feel amazing. We're going to take a look all around, and it's going to be, you can see 62 in Ripley, which is, that's fun. And 49 in Columbus, 55 in Chillicothe, 58 in Jackson. So all around in the 50s and even in the 60s for southeastern Ohio. Let's take a look at the precip tonight. You should see that low pressure coming in. It's going to bring those cool temps and even those warm temps in for tonight. Tomorrow, that warm front's going to push in. It's going to push out of the area. And you should see that. And as we get to tomorrow night, you can see that low pressure is going to put in, and that's where you're going to get that small chance of rain that we might get tomorrow. Only about a 20% chance, though, so don't worry too much. You can take a look at tomorrow night. Cold, cloudy early and cold, clearing up late at night. The low will be 27. Winds to the northwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And let's take a look at southeastern Ohio. So it's around the same. Ripley's at 33, but most are in the 20s to in the upper 20s to low 30s throughout the area. And let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. 57. So we have cool nights and warm days, and on Sunday we're going to see a slight chance and maybe a chance of snow, and as it's going to get colder as we head into next week, and Sunday we'll get a chance of snow. I'll send it back to you, Stephen.
Thanks for the update, Adlai. Ask anyone who has ever tried to break a bad habit and they'll tell you that it's easier said than done. But in today's Health Minute, Red Binion explains why that doesn't have to be the case.
Whether it's giving up smoking or junk food, there's at least one bad habit that most people would love to break, or at least have made countless attempts to break. Because habits can influence our behavior, they can be leveraged for positive change, but they can also hold back progress. A great rule of thumb, however, is to replace a bad habit with a better one. And one is often the inverse of the other, which can work in your favor, like eating clean is eating less junk and working out is being less sedentary. If you're wondering how long it takes to convert a bad habit into a good one, according to researchers from University College of London, on average, it takes a little over 2 months, and in some cases, even longer. So hang in there, and if you're worried about falling off the wagon, be mindful of what triggers those bad habits. You don't want to sabotage all your hard work. For today's Health Minute, I'm Reed Binion.
Hello everybody, I'm Brian Kerp. Coming up later on, we'll take a look at the current MAC standings for men's and women's basketball. And with only a few games remaining in the regular season, the Ohio men's basketball team looks to keep the momentum going tonight. A preview of the game is coming up next on Newswatch. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
A box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
Well, if you love TVC basketball action as much as we do, well then we got the show for you. Hardwood Heroes. Come along with us as we will be breaking down all the action every week. It airs Sundays at 11 p.m. and again Mondays at 6 p.m. But remember, our coverage isn't just limited to the show. We have content being posted all week long on our Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat. We will also have written recaps posted on our webpage and video recaps on our YouTube channel. So check those out as well. And always remember to be heroic.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Welcome back, I'm Brian Kerp. The Ohio men's basketball team is coming off a huge win over Bowling Green. They look to keep that momentum going tonight when they travel to Kent State. The last time the Bobcats and Golden Flashes met, it was Kent that came away with a 66-52 win at the Convo. The Golden Flashes are coming off a 23-point loss to Buffalo on Saturday. They are led by Jalen Walker. He is averaging about 21 points per game and scored 21 points against Ohio back in January. That game was a month and a half ago, and having one player in there could really help the Bobcats.
Jay Preston will help. The ball moves really well with him in there, but we didn't handle our post doubles very well last time, and we've got to do that better. Move the ball out of there and attack a fractured court a little bit better.
With only 2 weeks of games remaining, the conference standings are really beginning to take shape. Buffalo returns to the top of the MAC after the Bobcats knocked off Bowling Green. Keep in mind that Buffalo and BG will face each other in their final game of the season. That game will likely decide who is going to win the regular season title and get the top seed in Cleveland. The Bobcats are currently in 11th place, only above Western Michigan. Ohio plays Kent State tonight and will also visit Akron on Saturday before finishing the season at home against Buffalo and Miami. Now taking a look at the women's basketball conference standings, there's still a lot that can happen in 2 weeks. Ohio is currently in second behind Miami, but these two teams will battle next week in Oxford, so that is going to be a huge game. The Bobcats also face Buffalo tomorrow night. There are still 7 or even 8 teams that are still in contention for a top 4 seed and a first-round bye in the conference tournament. Unlike some past seasons, the MAC is really loaded with some talented teams at the top of the standings.
There's 4.
Yeah.
Those top 4 teams seem to be
pretty good. And just from a RPI standpoint, those top four, for us to have 4 teams in the top 50, 55 is pretty impressive for our conference. And then to have another 2 or 3 in the top 100.
2 wrestlers from Alexander High School will compete in a district tournament this weekend after winning their sectional bracket. But Newswatch reporter Noah Wolf tells us that they have their eyes on a bigger prize.
Griffin Schmiel has always wrestled.
Well, I originally started in 2nd grade.
But up until this season, he wasn't too successful.
My freshman year, I weighed like 80 pounds. Yeah, I was like 18 and 20 that year.
Now he's a junior and a sectional champion.
And he kept working hard, climbing trees in the off season, doing whatever, and he got bigger. He is strong, and he's long and deceiving. Once he gets a hold of him, it's over.
Wes Radford hasn't been wrestling for nearly as long.
I started 8th grade year. I was his first year wrestler. Never really knew what to do. I couldn't even shoot a shot. I was bad.
But he put in the work.
A couple of us will stay after practice and we'll get an extra workout. We'll wrestle for even 30 minutes or whatever we can get.
He too is a sectional champ.
Wes winning sectionals has a lot to do with his attitude of I'm not going to lose. He has a little bit of that strength, athleticism, and incorporates a little technique.
Where did Radford get that technique? From Schmiel.
He helped me a lot, getting just that technique because he's a technical machine.
Schmiel has praise for Radford too.
He's intense, that's for sure.
But their bond goes beyond the wrestling mat.
These 3 years we've been in high school together, he's been my drill partner a lot. We work out all the time after practice. And we hang out in school. I talk to him in school. I mean, I think wrestling has really made us so much closer.
And they both have the same goal in mind.
The goal is obviously to go to state this year. It's kind of been a dream for a long time. I'm hoping to go to state.
Coach Andrew Monk thinks that's more than achievable.
I think that we have a great shot at both kids to make the finals. I expect them both to make the state tournament.
Noah Wolf, Newswatch, The Plains.
Schmiel and Radford will both take the mat in a district tournament this weekend at Heath High School. But wrestling isn't the only high school sport in the postseason. 2 Division IV teams in WOUB's Hardwood Heroes coverage are trying to keep their postseason dreams alive. First up, Federal Hawking is looking to get to the Convo, but to do that, they're going to have to go through top-seeded Cole Grove. That game is currently in progress from Meigs High School. The Eastern Eagles also try to advance to the Convo. They will face South Webster at 8:30. That game is also being played at Meigs High School. Check out woub.org/heroes for coverage of these games. Now on the NHL, the Columbus Blue Jackets return to the ice tonight, and they welcome the Pittsburgh Penguins. You should get used to this matchup. The Jackets and Pens will face off 3 times in the next 2 weeks. They will also battle next Thursday in Pittsburgh and next Saturday in Columbus. These games are crucial for both teams. The Blue Jackets are only 1 point ahead of the Penguins in the Metropolitan Division. Columbus currently holds the 3rd seed in the division, while Pittsburgh is on the outside of the playoff picture. It's certainly going to be an interesting end of the season. I'm Brian Kerp, and that's it for sports. Over to you, Adley.
Hello, I am forecaster Adley Carwish, and let's take a look at the final weather here tonight. 25 degrees and cold. It will be cool and clear. Winds to the northeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow, 57 degrees, warm and cloudy. There will be a small chance of rain late in the evening, as we'll see the winds to the south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. But it will definitely be much, much warmer, and it will be a very nice day. So I suggest you go outside. Let's take a look at our 7-day outlook here. Most of the week, you're going to see warm days and cool nights. And Saturday and Sunday, we'll get to see a little bit more of rain and even snow on Sunday, which it has a good chance of snow. And then towards the beginning of the week, we will see Monday and Tuesday. They'll be much, much colder. And I'll send it back to you, Stephen.
Thanks, Adley. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Steven Hernandez. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org. Have a great night.